Tom Hunt.
Very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. It was a pleasure to contribute towards this King's speech today. Much of the on crime and policing, I of course welcome tougher sentencing for the most serious criminals, action on grooming gangs, and also criminal gangs facilitating illegal migration. It is of course incredibly important we think about the slightly lower level crime that is blighting many of our communities. Shop theft being one I think about often in Ipswich town that I represent. We have seen an increase in shop theft. It's almost at a point now where it is outstripping the level it was pre-COVID. And frankly, often the data isn't collected for the number of crimes. So we've got to have a deterrent in place. Got to a stage where there are some town centre businesses in Ipswich locking their doors. You've got to ring the bell to be allowed in. It's having a significant consequence on footfall. We've also got a situation where we have groups of men hanging around behaving in an intimidatory way. And this is actually putting off a number of my constituents from going into the town centre. And I lose count of a number of times when I knock on doors of my constituency and I have them saying they go shopping elsewhere, they're shunning their own town centre. That is utterly depressing for people who care passionately about their town and their future. Just done a recent survey of the town centre, and I said, what 2 options out of 8 do you think are most important to get you back into the town centre? Number 1, the police adopting a new zero-tolerance approach to antisocial behaviour and crime. And that is something I'm going to be working with Suffolk Constabulary to try and encourage and ensure it happens, and also the Home Office. With regards to the protests that we've seen over the past weekend, I and a number of my constituents were absolutely appalled and shocked by some of the activity that took place in our nation's capital last weekend. The anti-Semitic posters displaying a hatred we really hope has no place in our society. We saw the police posting pictures of individuals spreading hate, the worst form of hate, and racism, not being challenged at that moment. It's not enough to post pictures of these individuals after the event saying, who are we, can you help us? Get in there straight away and hold them to account and punish them for the hate they are spreading. And to be perfectly honest, however strongly you feel about any cause, whether it's what's happening in Palestine or anything else, if you cannot put your posters and banners aside for 2 days to remember our war heroes, you should take a serious look in the mirror. You can protest on a Monday, on the Thursday or Friday. That weekend is dedicated to remembering the best of us, the people who have died fighting for this country and its values. So I resented the fact that the marches went ahead of the weekend. I don't think they should have happened at all. And I made my views feel incredibly clear on that. And I find it utterly depressing that there are hundreds of thousands of people that seem to be prepared and think it's okay to go on that kind of protest instead of respecting the people who have fought for this country for what it is, its values and its institutions. I find that utterly depressing. I do think that it's, we should be capable. I have great respect for the... No, I'm not going to be giving away in this speech. We should, I've got great respect for the police of this country. But it doesn't mean that they don't sometimes get it wrong. And it doesn't mean that as members of Parliament, from time to time, we can't criticise their approach to an issue. I think it's incredibly legitimate. I don't think it's okay when you have individuals and activists on the streets aggressively calling for jihad to engage in semantics about what they may or may not have meant. I think virtually everyone in this country knew what that person meant when they were calling for jihad on our streets, and I think it is despicable that action hasn't been taken against that individual. Absolutely, it should. With regards to the broader issue of Israel-Palestine, I mourn the loss of life on both sides, like everyone in this House does. Utterly depressed about the situation, as are most of my constituents. I want a two-state solution, just like everybody else does. But I'm just not convinced that an immediate ceasefire right now would work and is appropriate when one side would not respect it and has made that abundantly clear. Hamas must be destroyed. I myself, over 4 years ago, went to one of the kibbutz on the border with Gaza. My understanding is that a good number of those people have now been killed in a massacre. We must never forget the evil that happened that day. The enemy of the people of Gaza is Hamas. We must work cross-party to support them being destroyed. But at the same time, every step must be taken to ensure that to minimise the loss of life, but it's incredibly hard when Hamas are using innocent people as human shields. That is something we must acknowledge. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Gerald Jones.